2021. Oh my God. I almost said 2020. Gee, that
You
year
almost
is
said it.
gone and ODA is over. Like that year is over. So I'm gonna introduce y'all in a minute. What I like to do is usually I wanted my countdown clock to go, but I like to try to get my shares in. And so right now, if you guys go to my Facebook page, um, y'all can see the video and share it on y'all side. And then we'll go live. So if y'all tuning in, because I see we have people tuning in from different platforms right now. If y'all tuning in, go ahead and say hi in the chat, whatever chat you're in. I'll see it on my side. We'll make sure we tell everybody if you have some dope to drop, dope. That is such an old 2020 word. If you have some fire to drop in the chat, go ahead and drop it, and I'll make sure to share it on the screen with everybody. Today we're going to be talking about hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. We thought we were done hearing those words 2020. We thought we were done, but if you think about it, your entire life prepared you for last year. Hindsight is 2020. So let me go ahead and share this real quick on my side. And then we can get going. Y'all see, I have guests in the studio today. I got some guests with me today. I'm gonna introduce them in a minute. Y'all don't get impatient and be trying to get me to tell y'all who they are right now, because it's not gonna happen. And then I'm gonna let them introduce themselves as well. So give me one more second. As a matter of fact, why don't I do that while I'm sharing? Why don't we do that? Why don't we start at the top with you, Amira's views? Tell the people who you are, where you from, and why you here today.
Okay. Well, I'm Amira. I'm here today because Tanoa, the mindset mogul, has this beautiful platform for the people to share thoughts, conversations, wisdom, and just self-enhancing information and knowledge. So I'm just happy to be here with her. I'm happy to share this time with Miles because Miles is like, you don't want to be surrounded by people that you wouldn't accept knowledge and advice and things from. So, like, I can't be more excited to be wedged between these two right now. But you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Definitely interactive, of course. I've been life coaching for probably over 10 years. So if you want life coaching, you can also DM me for details or email me or inbox me as well. I definitely, I'm a 3-session kind of situation. If you need more 3 sessions, then if you need more than 3 sessions with me, you need to seek therapy or something like that. I'm here to get you on track, here to dial it home, and then we can get to winning. So that's it. And I'm here to talk about the hindsight that we should have all gathered from 2020. I'm excited to talk about that.
Woo woo! And Miles W. Miller.
Woo! Mr. Phenomenal.
Mr. Phenomenal.
It feels like it's been a long time coming. I really appreciate this moment. Being able to be with dynamic people, people who I actually had the ability to meet and know, and I can vouch for their greatness, and to be welcome into this atmosphere tonight is like amazing for me. A little bit more about myself. I'm a I'm a I am a empowerment specialist. That's what I'll call myself. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Um,
D.
I don't know what to say. I think that tonight I'm gonna let what we do talk for itself. I'm not gonna go any further with trying to introduce myself. I think by the end of
Oh,
the night we'll know who everybody is.
okay. Well, let me tell you guys, I met both of them. It was years ago. Remember when the housing market first crashed and everybody was trying to figure out their lives? I think we all met in a space where we were helping people figure out their lives. And it was in the age of Blog Talk Radio. I don't know if y'all remember Blog Talk Radio or not, but Blog Talk Radio was, it came out years ago. Now we have things like Clubhouse and, Instagram and all these other phenomenons. But we all started on Blog Talk Radio. I met a mirror through, like, we were connected to people who were connected to people, and we knew that that was greatness that we had to attach to. And Miles, I was on his. He used to do this fourth. He used to do fourth quarter comeback, but every quarter he would
I still do.
have, yeah, and he still does it. So he would every quarter he would have like things that you would need in that quarter to get your life right, right. And then I met him on the fourth quarter comeback with some other phenomenal coaches, and we've all been connected ever since. we all may have a different message, but we have the same goal, which is to empower you to greatness and to be everything that you are intended to be. What I love so much about this platform right now and the fact that we're all together is, again, because we may have a different way of saying it, we may have a different way of seeing it, but we're going to get you to where you need to be if you listen and participate. So remember to use the chat. If you have something to say, drop it in the chat. If you are watching the replay, please type replay in the chat so that we'll know that you watched after the fact. And if you're live, go ahead, show some love, say hi. It won't hurt. It's 2021. We're doing things different in 2021. Miles dropped out, but he'll be back. But remember, hindsight is 2020. So if y'all have been watching me for any amount of time, you know that I love a definition. I mean, I buy dictionaries. I mean, when I say I buy dictionaries, and then if I get too lazy to go pull them off the shelves over there, I'll just Google them because I love a definition. And one thing I love about a word and the definition is it gets us all in the same frame of mind. Again, you can have 50 ways of getting to a destination, and all of them are right. But we're all taking a different road. I love now I'm gonna forget who said it. I want to say it's Emerson, but there's a saying that we all may have different paths, but we're all traveling. What is the saying? Oh my God, Amir, do you know what I'm trying to say? It's in my bathroom. Don't have me get up and go run in the bathroom. Um there we go, I brought Miles back in. But oh my gosh. Just because someone is
I'm
not on
trying
your
to find
road
it.
doesn't mean they're on the wrong path. It's something like that. But the thing is, just because we all have a different way of getting there doesn't mean we're on the wrong path. It just means that we have something new to learn if we listen along the way. So that's what I love about a definition. So I'm going to see if I can find the word hindsight. But while I'm looking up the actual definition, when we talked about today being hindsight is 2020, Miles, what did you take from that? What made you excited about today's topic? Miles, can you hear us? You can't hear?
Oh, okay. I think
Okay, what about
your audio thing that happened to you earlier is happening to him. So I'll piggyback. Wow, Miles, just give us a thumbs up. When he comes back, there he goes. He's back in. When your audio's back cracking, let us know, Miles. But my excitement from that is, 2020 was a big year as far as word definitions. And honestly, I was looking up the word quarantine before we got on because the big thing that happened, we were basically quarantined all year, right?
yes, yes.
So it's isolation. And what I kind of want to talk about with our time together when it gets to me is self knowledge.
Okay.
Did we acquire enough self knowledge over this? Were we too busy digging into our complaint, into our life alterations, to our grief, that we didn't seek self knowledge? Because we should have all not, oh, I hate the word should. Let me rephrase that. That sounds so nasty. We had a divine opportunity to come out of 2020 with more knowledge, more information about self, whatever that was. Because I know some people that love to do yoga, but they were forced to do yoga online.
Yep.
How much do you have to love a thing to reach to do it virtually? Workout folks, you know what I mean? You really learned if you love to work out or you just like the social aspect of the gym, So with 2020, I want you to look back. I want us all to look back and say, what did we learn about self during this isolation period, this quarantine period where we weren't able to be, as social as we could have been. And I know what I learned about me. But I want people to maybe if they could drop that in the comments, like, what did you really learn about yourself this year? that you don't think you would have otherwise known.
So I can see in the green room that Miles is still having a little bit of a problem connecting. So I love that. And I love what you said earlier. And dang it, now I messed up your words. I wish I had written it down. I was too busy looking up definitions. But you were saying, what is it? Oh my gosh, that you should have known.
What are the lessons about self that you gained in 2020?
There you go. And that, and
What is
what
the
are those
self
things?
knowledge?
Right. That you should have known, but you like, like that 2020 was here to teach you, right? So when you look up the phrase hindsight is 2020, I'm just gonna say this, and I'm highly disappointed. So I'm gonna try not to cry, but both of my dictionaries failed me. Both of them failed me. Can you believe that? Like the APA dictionary failed me. It had something in there about hindsight bias, but I don't think y'all want me to write a dissertation. I could, I can, I'm good at it, but won't do that. And the regular dictionary was just like, we didn't even put the word hindsight in there. So I had to go to, thankfully I have an iPhone. I'm just plugging Apple real quick because I'm pretty sure you can do it on any other Google phones too. But so the phrase hindsight is 2020. So it says this expression means it's easier to analyze and evaluate situations when we're looking back on them in the past than when we're in the present moment. The word hindsight refers to looking back or reflecting on things in the past. And 2020 refers to perfect vision. So let's just drop that for a minute and let's stop there for a minute. 2020 refers to perfect vision. There's so many of us when we talk about 2020, man, so many people wanted it just over. They didn't want to deal with it anymore. We were 3 months in. I'm sorry, this t-shirt is trying to kill me. But we were 3 months in and people were already done with 2020. And let me just say, 3 months into 2020, 4 months in, it lasted forever. Like April of 2020 was its own year, right? And then we went through the rest of the year. So we had pretty much 2 years wrapped in 1 year of perfect vision. And so for us to have wanted to leave 2020 so quickly, we didn't even take the chance or the time to learn the lessons. But let me just say this real quick too. Sometimes you can look at people who you can tell the people who are not into self-awareness, self-knowledge, learning lessons, because those are the people who would rather bury their nose in the TV, or they want to escape in some type of way through all those like negative means sometimes too, gossip, drinking, like they don't want to stay present to the moment. 2020 was one of those years where we didn't want to stay present to the moment. We didn't want to be a part of 2020, right? We wanted 2020 to be over. And that's kind of like what hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is saying you're going to look back at something that really, if you think about it, it was the perfect time and the perfect moment for us to learn these big lessons that we were trying to escape and run from because they were coming too fast, right? So when you look at hindsight is 2020, like I wrote in the thing, what are you trying to release yourself from? And what lessons were you intended to learn? Or what lessons were you supposed to learn? Or what lessons are you even right now today still trying to learn from 2020? And how can you look at what happened that year, to go back to what Amira was saying, like looking at that self-awareness and that self-knowledge to see how it is you can make yourself better with that perfect vision that you now have that you didn't even want to see a whole year ago. Because it was a year ago, y'all. It's like 3 days ago. It was a year ago. It was a year ago. But yeah, hindsight is 2020, Amira.
It is. I think we all gained something different. There were so many things. I think we all gained something different from 2020. My one of my hindsights is that I persevered. I did a whole move in
Right.
2020. I moved from Atlanta. Everybody was saying, you oh my gosh, you're moving. But I went from one hotbed of COVID to another. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really like my realities were shifting. It was
Right.
still a hunker down mentality, but yet it got done. You know what I mean? So, and we had the time. We had the time to, I think somebody, I was watching another podcast and they were saying that there was a married couple. They said, we have gone and we have talked about everything we could possibly talk about because we've been in the house together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like they had to re-explore their whole marriage. They got to do that. So we've had the opportunity of time. From my overreaction when we first went on lockdown, and I went and I bought everything in the store for my house. you know, like if you could, we had like 2 buggies, all right, to be in the back of the line at Costco behind behind 400 carts. It's like now I think about that and I'm like, that was me. That I was really in there like that, like playing to the what is it called,
Fear.
to the news, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be, didn't think I could be able to step outside, which is another lesson. It's probably never as bad as you think it's gonna be. You know what I mean? So I love this. I can pull lessons all day surrounding that, even job transitions, people who were able to job transition. I love that people did come into a lot of abundance this year. I spoke with somebody today and they said, man, the 600 was good for them, like
Right.
they felt abundant this year. And they took advantage of that, and it felt good to them. And I was like, wow, that's really a good takeaway that I hadn't even thought of. Like, some people came up.
Right.
A lot of businesses came up. I talked to a lot of people that had a lot of businesses that did cash in on PPP, and they're going to do great things for their business this year.
Right.
So yes, I can take lessons from 2020 from here to till I'm out of here.
Okay, so let me ask Miles.
And we'll continue to get them.
Yep. Okay, so Miles, so when you were gone, the definition that I finally was able to pull up from Google, because my dictionaries failed me, and I hate to say that, that just hurts my feelings. But so Google said that hindsight is 2020 means it's easier to analyze and evaluate situations when we're looking back on them in the past than when we are in the present moment. The word hindsight refers to looking back on reflecting on things in the past, and 2020 refers to perfect vision. So when you look at 2020 and when you look at the things that you learned, or the things that, even, as a coach and as an empowerment specialist and as one who people turn to when they are in the midst of their worst moments to help them through, when you hear that definition and when you hear those words, perfect vision, what do you think about 2020, and what do you think of the lessons that people need to learn from the past?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I had to switch to
I'm
my.
extra.
I switched to my iPhone, so it's gonna be a little different. One thing,
you look perfect.
Right off the bat is perseverance. Like, just this moment, I think it taught me perseverance because, the computer's having issues, but we got to get this done. And that's the approach I took to 2020. In hindsight, it's easy to prophesy the future when you'd already seen it. So you can always go back and say, oh, wow, yeah, that's what should have happened. This should have happened. Like, no, I'm a firm believer that everything happens as it ought to happen. Now, that does not negate the fact that some really horrific things happened in 2020. And I've heard many people say, 2020 away, and let's hurry and get to 2021. I, on the other hand, I can't necessarily go back and throw 2020 away because my family was welcoming a new baby in 2020. So in about 16 days, I'm going to have a 1-year-old.
That's wow.
That is wow.
2020 was a blessed year. It was a tough year. It was a challenging year. But to look back at it in hindsight, what would you have changed? I mean, you would have had to have gone back 5 years before that. And the thing about it is that 5 years before that, we did what we did. We were who we were, and nothing was going to change. So you have to forgive yourself of anything from the past. You cannot rewrite the past. You cannot rewrite history. Is already written. It's done. So let's move forward. Let's, again, not making light of anybody who was lost in the middle of this the pandemic. My
Right.
family lost people. I mean, every other people's families have lost people that they love and cared about. But in the same sense, we're still here and we have to make some things change. I mean, like I look at my situation specifically, having a newborn and having like a 4-year old going on 5-year-old and other children that are counting on me and my wife counting on me. I can't throw in the towel. So
Right.
I don't really get caught up in looking backwards because I think I told Amira this one day last week. I had actually posted on Facebook that I spent a lot of my time since both of you ladies have known me. I spent a lot of my time looking in reverse, looking in the mirror, regretting what I didn't do, or living in the future. Hoping and wishing and praying that something beautiful, the beautiful things I imagine that I see are going to come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
But I had always disrespected the present. I didn't live in the
Mm.
present.
Mm.
The present is a gift for a reason. They call it a present because it's a gift. You have to embrace what you have right now. You have to make the best of every situation that shows up. You have to be resilient. You have to be persistent. You have to be ready to rock and roll with a moment's notice, whatever happens. Like I said, right now, I personally had not planned to do this from my phone, but thank God I could do it from my phone. The
Right.
computer is not going to come back online right now, and that's okay. But we had to get stuff done, and what is most important is that getting stuff done. Understand that if I'm giving my best effort right now, the person I am now, I may not be. This is where I think the human experience can be understood better. Sometimes your best is not good enough,
Right.
and when your best is not good enough, you forgive yourself and you learn and move forward. You learn and move
Right.
forward. You learn and move forward. You learn and move forward. You learn and move forward, and you keep learning. You keep moving forward. Look. I'm not the best person on the face of the planet either. I have made some mistakes. I even made some mistakes today, and I had to learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward. You know, the the, the goal is not to be so concerned about what we can't change. I can't
Right.
do anything about what happened just 20 seconds ago, but 20 seconds in the future can be made really beautiful.
Uh-oh, Miles, you're freezing. Um, okay. So he froze, but he said something. And see, and this is why, okay, I'm gonna get I'm gonna do what I do when I'm on
Right
meetings with people, and I'm gonna
now,
start to take notes. Uh-oh, you
what I
coming
keep
back.
doing right now in the next 20 seconds can be even more beautiful because of what I just did right now. So each moment is waiting for us to just take.
Okay. So he's frozen again. I don't think he knows he's frozen. So and Amir, I muted you because your mic was coming in through. So I'm gonna unmute you and
Yeah.
yeah. But well, let me say this before we go any further. I wore this shirt is trying to kill me. I don't like for stuff to touch my neck and it's trying to kill me, but I wore this shirt for a reason. It was the first day of the year. I like words. Y'all know that. But it says be, then it says be good to yourself, inspire others. That's what we're doing. Ah, ah. I got that from my daughter. I don't even know if I do it right. How you do the heart? Is that right? Or does it look creepy? Does it look? See, yours looks right. Mine looks like I'm like trying to like really strangle somebody on the side. Um, but okay, so well, since he's not back, I'm gonna move it forward because I can't remember exactly now what he said, but I know one of the things that came up for me that he was talking about was priorities. And 2020 taught us all how to get our priorities straight, right? So you mentioned something, Amir. You were talking about how in the very beginning you went to the store and you bought up everything, right? And I'm normally that type of person. I'm normally the type of person that over prepares. Like if you look in any of my freezers right now, my deep freezer, my regular freezer, there is no room to put another anything. But if I go to the grocery store tomorrow, I'm going to buy 500 pounds, dollars worth of food, and I'm not going to have anywhere to put it because I over prepare. Like I always think that I have to have more of something to stay prepared. That's that military mentality, right? Be prepared for everything. Well, I'm over prepared. But in the beginning of 2020, I had just moved. And I remember saying that I wasn't going to go shopping because I didn't want to have to move all of that stuff. And I would just rather buy it when I moved to my new place. And so, lo and behold, I allowed us to get down to like one mega pack of toilet paper, but during the move and all of that, like we ran through the toilet paper. And so it was like it was in the height of just about to go into quarantine. And I'm one of those people in the store looking for toilet paper. I'm never out of toilet paper or paper towels, paper products, and water, never. But those are the things that you couldn't find. It was like people went crazy with the need to over prepare. So it's funny how when you think about it from a physical standpoint, we would do everything that we can. If you look at Maslow's, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because I'm a geek and a nerd. So, if you look at the hierarchy of needs says those things that we need, right? We're going to make sure we have those things that food, shelter, clothing. But then as you move up higher and higher, that's when you get to things like the emotional side. But the very, very top is transcendence. And transcendence is when you're able to like look at every single part of you, every single thing that is the essence of you, and see how to make yourself evolve, how to make yourself better. And it does. Yes, you need the food, shelter, clothing, but you need all of those mental things too that go with it, and all of that self-awareness, and being willing to like point the finger at self and see how you need to get better. But so many of us will rather disconnect from that part and only focus on the toilet paper. I still see the memes now from people saying, hey, in 2021, do not buy up all the toilet paper. Right now is a thing. My sister is upset because they keep saying how it's the vitamins that help you either stay COVID free or heal from COVID faster. And so she's upset because now everybody's starting to buy all the D vitamins. Oh, I couldn't say that. The D vitamins. The D vitamins. Like I don't know why I wanted to come out like I was on alfalfa. But um but yeah, so we're you may have to turn your speaker down a little, Amira, because I took you off mute. But yeah, it's crazy how we want to hoard all the things that don't necessarily matter, but we don't want to hoard those things that make us better and make us greater. So Amira, if you could tell people one thing that they could do in 2021 to make to start the process of change, so that they're on the positive side of change and not the negative side of change where they're buying toilet paper, what would that one thing be?
I really appreciate what Miles said. And then somebody in the comments, I saw that you can't unring a bell. We can't go back.
Yeah.
You know, we can't go back. And so I think what the thing that we can take away is to be self-aware.
Yeah.
Because when we are self-aware, we are always looking at how can I in this moment be more present, be more compassionate, and be more understanding. And we all have moments where we aren't those things and we can't go back and readjust them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all we have is right now. All we have is this present moment. And hopefully we have gotten to that place where we are more compassionate. You know, I don't know about you, but spending time with myself made me understand that I can be abrasive, I can be non-compassionate, and I have room to be more compassionate. I really, really do. So I would say let's take away those things as far as how can I be in this present moment.
Okay. So what about you, Miles? What would you say is that one thing that you would want to teach? I'm sorry, y'all. I ran in the kitchen to try to take my food out the oven, and Amira, you stopped talking sooner than I thought you would, and I was like, "She done?
Oh,
What?
oh,
Normally I got
you
you for
think?
a good
See, you
minute."
think I'm long-winded?
I was hoping you were this time. Right in the middle of taking the enchilada pasta out the oven, you stopped talking. I was like, "Uh oh." So
You have to let me know. If you
we
just
got to
said, "Well,
work
let's
on
talk
hand.
about that," I'm gonna go grab my stuff. I would have had you. I would have had
Okay.
your back. I would have threw it to Myers because
I was like, maybe if I pause long enough, maybe she'll say, "What about you, Miles?" I was like, "Okay, just go." Okay, so Miles, now that my pasta is out the oven, um, what
I love the
what
realness
one
though.
right? What one lesson would you share with, like, if a client came to you and they said, "Oh, I don't want my life to be the same as it was in 2020." What one nugget would you share with them to help move them in the right direction?
Well, I think the first thing that I want to find out is how serious they are about change. You know, a lot of people talk change, but they're not really serious about doing what's necessary. You know, I'll be one of the first people to tell you I'm not perfect, but I definitely want to see my life different, and I'm committed to that. And so, in order for anybody to make a step forward, is are you committed to doing what you say you want to do? You know, a lot of people, you know, they make New Year's resolutions. I plan to do this. I'm going to lose this much. I'm going to not stop doing this. And you know, today January 3rd, they're already back doing the stuff they said they wouldn't do. So, how
Yes.
committed are you to seeing the life of your dreams? Like, you know, and I got to do this. The life of your dreams is wonderful, and you deserve it. That's my trademark quote. And I feel like a lot of people, they want to live a life of their dreams, but they don't want to work at it. They want the reward without the responsibility. You know, a
Right.
lot of our youth are going through the same problem right now. They want the reward. Give me the reward. I'm entitled to the reward, but they want zero part in the responsibility of what it takes to get that reward. And so, for me, is I have to ask you: are you committed to being the person you say you want to be? At that point, I can create any type of platform for you at that point. But are you really truly ready to do what you say you're ready to do? You know, a lot of people,
Right.
you know, want to call themselves a beast until it's time to do what a beast has to do.
Yeah.
You know, are you committed to being that beast?
I love that. I have a quote too about your dreams. It says, "Your dreams are waiting for you. You just have to have the audacity to believe it." Because if y'all remember, like, I've always gone by the moniker of the audacity expert. And it's so true. It's like, you have to want that dream, and you have to be willing to do something every day. When I used to teach in the schools, I used to ask the kids when they would act up, I would pull them, send them to the hall. And most teachers send a kid to the hall and they know they're in trouble. And so they would be ready for me to, like, say something to them or say something negative or whatever. And my first question when I put them in the hallway was, "What is it you want to be when you grow up?" Which would always throw them off. It's like, what? What just happened? And so they would tell me, and let's say they said a doctor. Then my next question would be, so then what are you doing right now today to make that dream come true? Because your dreams don't come true the day you want them to. The dreams come true the day that you decide that that's your dream, which means you have to do something, like you said, every single day to make that happen. I used to have clients, they would say to me, "Oh, well, I would love to have my degree, but I'm not sure if I want to go back to school because it's going to take me 10 years. And by the time I'm finished, I'll be 40." And I would say, "Okay, well, let's say you just woke up, today is your 40th birthday. And would you rather wake up with a diploma or with the degree or without the degree? If you want the degree on your 40th birthday, it doesn't matter how long it's going to take you to get there. Just know, put yourself in those shoes today. Hindsight is 2020. I can stand here today and project myself forward and then look back at my life and say, is that the life I want to have? And if it's not the life I want to have, then, like you just said, what am I willing to do to get there? I have to be willing to take the steps and do the work to get myself where I need to be. I think that's one of the beauties of that phrase too. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah, I'm so sorry. But you have to be willing to you have to be willing to project and look back from that projection standpoint, right? Because time is a construct anyway, right? Time is not real. We just age based on a numerical value that humans have given us, but time is a construct that doesn't know any boundaries. So What are you willing to do to make your dreams come true? And are you committed to doing them? Are you committed to getting there? Are you committed to learning the lessons of the past and the things that you say you wanted and you didn't do, in order to get to where you are? That's what you said earlier, Miles. You were talking about how, dang, and it just left again. I was saying time, moving, committed to time. I used to have one. It was something around this because I used to have this phrase where I didn't take backward steps. That's what it was. You said you don't believe in looking backward, and I used to have this thing I would tell people all the time. But I don't believe in taking backward steps. I remember when after my first year of college, and I didn't have I forgot to turn in my financial aid, and something happened at home, and I couldn't go back to school, and I couldn't stay home, and I needed to be gone, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I used to always tell people, "Oh, you'll never see me in the military." But I remember opening the newspaper and Uncle Sam was pointing and he said, "I'll pay for school." And I said, "Well, okay, all right then, Uncle S, my boy, called a recruiter. Recruiter did everything he could to get me in because, I probably shouldn't have been in the military. But recruiter did his job, got me in the military. I went in, and when I came back, when I got out of basic and advanced training, I wouldn't go back to Clark. I used to go to Clark, at the time it was Clark College, and then it became Clark Atlanta University, but I wouldn't go back. And people were like, "Well, why won't you go back?" And I was like, "Because I don't believe in taking backward steps." Right. And then there were some other things that happened, and I kept using that phrase, "I don't believe in taking backward steps. I don't believe in taking backward steps." And everybody that I left to go to basic training, they moved forward and I would be behind. So I'm just going to keep moving forward. But it was just the other day, Miles, when you said that, and it reminded me of this. It was just the other day that I was having this whole conversation with myself. And it's probably why I've been in the bed for 2 days, because my soul feels like it's been going through it. Amir, when I talked to you the other day, remember when I was just like, so much happening to me and I was just weary, bone weary? I have not gotten out the bed until, like, I got up, took a shower yesterday, got back in the bed, got up today, took a shower, been laying on the couch, right? And I don't do that. But I've been saying to myself, maybe you should have taken some backward steps somewhere in your life. Maybe you got yourself off track. Maybe you're running from all these, not wanting to go back. Maybe you missed out on reconnecting with some people you were supposed to meet with. Maybe. Hindsight is 2020, right? I can say that all day today. But what do y'all think about that? What do you think? Do you think that sometimes you can, Amira, do you think that you can get yourself off track, or put yourself in the wrong spot because you're so busy always looking for the new?
Yeah, sometimes it pays to retrace those steps.
Yeah.
Because you're not retracing them. You're now you have experience with it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it pays to retrace your steps. When you've lost something, when you've lost anything, when you've lost your keys, your wallet, your purse, similarly, you've lost your vision, your motivation, your drive, you might need to retrace your steps to see where you left that thing.
Yes.
So yes, I think it does pay. Yes, it pay, but you're looking at experience. You know what? If you have, I love analogies. If you have ever lost your keys, and I think we have all lost our keys, you be like, where were they the last time I thought I lost them? So you go back and you might find them sooner this time. You're like, okay, I usually put them over here. I usually do this. So yes, I think it's definitely beneficial when we have lost anything, lost our steam, lost our keys, lost our whatever. I think it goes for relationships. If you're in a long-term relationship and you've lost that spark, you might need to retrace some steps to see where you can get that thing back. You might find it. Now, you might not find it, but you just might find it. So I definitely think it is important to retrace our steps. And we get caught up on that, like we said, looking for the new thing. And I think social media goes within that because we get to scroll and we get a new post and we get a new 140 characters and we get a new. But sometimes we need to take a step back. I don't know. I think we've all gone different places. From Chicago. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I know Miles was in Atlanta and then went back to Detroit. when you go away from a thing and come back and you're going in places that you used to be, you have a different eye, don't you?
Yeah.
Chicago looks a little different. It's like, oh, I was on this block. It seems different. Chicago look the same. But okay, in shorts, because you tell me a long
Detroit's
way.
been gentrified, so it looks completely different.
What'd you say,
Right.
Miles?
So Detroit's been gentrified, so it's not the same Detroit I grew up here.
Yeah, yeah. But what you said,
My
you
neighborhood
said something,
too.
and now I hear Drake in my head. It says, "You tell me I fell off, where I leave it at." Right? I say that to myself all the time because people love like so. Here's what I love and hate about life. Right? Like you can move forward based on somebody else's vision of where your life was, and like sometimes you if you're in a position for so long, you see it the same. You could take fresh eyes so somebody can walk into your situation and kind of share something with you. But then you also have people that will walk into your life and hold you accountable to the greatness that they see in you, but they don't tell you where you got left off, or if they have the tools, they won't help you. They just want to beat you over the head with the fact that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not being who you're supposed to be. Right. So I love that line by Drake. You told me I fell off. Well, where I leave it at? Like you ain't tell me that part where you saying it's not right. Help me see it. Help me get there. And the other thing that you said was you said that if you lose your money, you lose your keys, you lose your wallet, you're looking for those things all day. Right? All day. You can't go anywhere without your keys, without your wallet. You're looking for those. But you lose your vision, your motivation, and your drive. Now we're just gonna turn the TV on, right? And it's like, come on, people. If 2020 taught us nothing else, this is the year to find your motivation, find your vision, find your drive, find your purpose. Your dreams are waiting for you. Come on, have the audacity to believe it. Come on, Miles, what you got? What do you think about that?
I'm gonna tell you something, and this may shock you. I was a little numb to 2020. Like it didn't really bother me. Like I think it's bothered a lot of other people, even with the election cycle, some of the stuff that was going on. I mean, from 2014 to like 2019, I got the hammer dropped on me. Like I lost my parents. I mean, things I really cared about just turned upside down, and I learned how to deal with those things. So when 2020 hit, it wasn't like I wasn't getting ready to jump off a roof. It was like, well, just it's time to do what you already been doing. You know how to avoid crisis. You know how to navigate the ship when the waves get choppy. So for myself, like I said, I don't make light of anybody's experience, but I can say for myself,
Yeah.
man, I'd already been to hell and back.
Yes.
I could write a book about the experience I had from just that 5-year run. Um, Lost friends, lost money, lost a lot of stuff, and here I am today, like still standing there. Thank God we made it through 2020, but in the same sense,
Yeah.
I've seen worse. I mean, in my household, I've seen worse, and I hate to say it that way, but
Yes.
in the same sense, like it takes somebody who's been there to be able to encourage you that you can come out of it. Yes, 2020 was rough. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
2020 also had some bright sides, and so
Yeah.
a wise person told me very recently. I'm gonna repeat this often that you have to learn to count your victories. Don't spend so
Yes.
much time looking at the stuff you lost. You got to learn to appreciate and bless those things that manifested for you. If you still got life in your body, you got breath in your lungs, your heart is beating, you got an assignment, and you can't give up on the assignment. You can't give up on the assignment. I was watching. I couldn't go to church service on New Year's Eve, and my pastor said, heaven can wait. We got an assignment to do down here, and
Cool.
I run with that now. I'm not ready to go, and I'm
Right.
not going to let what has been going on take me either, because I can't afford to. I've been look. I have a tendency to if I go too far, I can get depressed. Just like what you were saying, like I'll spend days just looking at TV, or I spend days like isolating myself from everything and everybody, and that doesn't solve anything. So,
Right.
like I said, we're not perfect people. I hope nobody gets that misconstrued, but we do try. And I offer to you to just keep trying, just keep putting your best foot forward. Keep going, just keep doing what you do, keep being who you are. And yes, we're not ultimately we not your best today might not be good enough, and that's okay. I want people to get that, hear me when I say that your best may not be good today, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you keep putting forth the best effort, your best effort, you're going to eventually bump into somebody who can show you something better without,
Yeah.
bumping your head against a brick wall. Like if you keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again and thinking somebody else's fault, that's you. But there's some
Right.
people who understand, like, hey, I need to change, or I need to learn. I need just one more piece to this puzzle, or three or four more pieces to the puzzle. And if you keep walking, you'll eventually find it. But you can't. You have to be commit. Again, I'm going back to the word commitment. Everything I'm talking about tonight, it hinges on commitment. Like, how committed are you to being the person that you want to be? You know, if I told you all the stuff that's going on right now as we're sitting here doing this interview, like, I've been having connection issues, I've been having phone issues, I've been having issues with the Wi-Fi, like stuff is just going haywire. But I'm committed to being here with you. And I am
Right.
not going to walk away from here until I get the message that I was supposed to deliver to somebody tonight, because somebody need to hear my voice. And somebody need to hear
Yeah.
your voice. And somebody need to hear your voice. And everybody who's here, there's somebody connected to you. You may not ever meet them in life, but they're connected to you and your success matters. And so that's why what I take from 2020, don't be taken away by 2020.
Right.
Don't me 20 over. Unfortunately, the things that have happened, they've happened. But don't let it take you away. You have a purpose that must be executed, that must be fulfilled, that you must step out and and do. That's the best word I can say. You got to do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I am ready to be everything I'm supposed to be this year. Like I've been,
Mm.
again, like I said, I didn't realize how intense of a battle I went through that 5 year run, because I wasn't putting out content like I used to. I wasn't doing speaking engagements like I used to. You haven't seen much of me. You may see me, but you haven't seen me like you were seeing me before, like when I was in my zone. And I had to really think, like, man, this stuff does happen every day. People go through trials every day, and there's somebody who needs your voice, and you can't afford to be sitting up depressed. So that means if you got to talk to somebody, which I am a firm believer. A lot of times people in our community don't believe in therapy. I do.
Hmm.
Some stuff is just too intense to not to hold on to it by yourself. You can't fight this battle alone. That's the first lesson you have to learn. You can't fight this battle alone. You can't win this without yourself. We can't win this by yourself. If you can do it by yourself, it's probably something really small and minuscule. Like, if you can go plant a flower, you know, it doesn't take much to plant a flower. But if you try to plant a whole orchard, you need some help.
And let me tell you, I am guilty. Guil capital T. I am guilty of trying to do it by myself, believing I can do it by myself. I don't need any help. I don't need you. I got this. But kind of like what you said a minute ago when you were talking about that being numb to 2020. We had this conversation the other day, Amira, and I was saying how like a lot of people are trying to get rid of 2020, and to me, 2020 was just another year. But you summed it up, and I don't think I've shared this. A friend of mine asked me, she said, when are you going to share this part of your journey with people? And I've been waiting for that right moment, waiting for the right way to write it out, and just waiting to feel safe enough to do it. But kind of like you, I had one of those. I had a 7 year run, and my run was kind of the same. I wasn't putting out content, I wasn't doing what I needed to do. But a lot of people don't know that my daughter and I bounced from, okay, so in the beginning, you can't really call it homelessness because we were living in a hotel, but I was paying $139 a night. Do the math. I was in California, $139 a night. I did that for months. Then I came to Houston, but we bounced like in that couch surfing, phase for a long time because I was in hiding from somebody who had threatened to kill me. And it took another military friend of mine, brother of mine, who I went to high school with, who's been my brother forever, to kind of say, no, 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 we don't live like this. You need me to make a move to Texas, I'll make a move to Texas, but you're not going to live your life in fear of anybody and stop being the greatness that you were intended to be. So I kind of had one of those years too. And a lot of people didn't even realize that all those years I was even live and putting out that content, I was doing it in my mind was in a little box, and my daughter and I were living in a little box because I wasn't living the life that I was intended to live because I was hiding from somebody. How does that feel? Like, how do you tell people I'm teaching you to be bold, audacious, determined to live your life? But on the flip side, I'm living this small existence. It seems really big, but I'm living this small existence because somebody's trying to kill me. And for me to take that job that I had for the last 2.5 years, where I worked with the homeless and I was out in those tent communities and under those bridges, I felt so free because, and people, even my clients would say to me, you sometimes walk into these tent communities by yourself and you don't look afraid. And I would think to myself, but you got to know what I just came through. You have to understand that I've been living a pent up existence for all these years, hiding from somebody. There is nothing that you have on me. I haven't even really been as vocal with this story. I had a client pull a machete on me and pop it up to my neck. I was out there by myself. And I walked up on him to tell him that his house was ready. And he turned around and put a whole sword machete and put it up to my neck. And I just stopped and I paused and I just started looking around. And he was, I don't know if he was high. I don't know what he was. But he was just, we were, he was, machete was here. He was there. And my face was here. And I was just looking in the sky. And I kept saying, come on, Tanoa, like, where is she at? I was waiting for my crazy to check in because y'all know I'm probably military. I carry disabled veteran plates. All disabilities ain't physical, y'all. So I was waiting. I was like, where is she? Like,
Can't
come
see them
on,
all,
girl.
baby.
You taking
Can't
too
see them
long,
all.
girl. Huh? What'd you say,
You
Miles?
can't see it. Some disabilities you can't see it. Some of them
You can't see,
they have to be
right?
checked with medicine.
Right, exactly. Or prayer, right? So I'm standing there and
and
all
fasting.
I can see now. Right. And all I can see is all around me is all these clients I've never seen before. And that you're not supposed to go out there by yourself. I'm out there by myself. And normally I have my little military backpack, and in my backpack I got a bag of tricks. We ain't supposed to carry weapons, but I got a bag of tricks because you can make anything a weapon. All I had was my key. But the key was ready, but the crazy hadn't checked in yet. I was like, where is she? What is she doing? And then it checked in, and I remember looking eye to eye, and everybody know I'm a germaphobe, right? I remember leaning up, going nose to nose with him, which means now the sword is even more in my neck. And I went nose to nose, and I looked at him eye to eye, and I said, y'all know I don't even curse, right? So sometimes it come out like I'm one of those like Valley girls, but not that day. I looked at him and I said, don't lose your housing and some other shit fucking with me up under this bridge. And then I just never broke eye contact with him. And then finally and usually when my crazy check in, like people tell me my eyes go real dead. So I'm pretty sure at that point my eyes were like as flat as possible. And I didn't move, I didn't blink, I didn't breathe, I just stared at him. And he finally stepped back.
You had to go Suge Knight on him.
I had to go Suge Knight. I
Yeah.
met him. So he's really, I think he's nicer than people think. I want to scare him. But anyway, so I remember
that's South Chicago right there.
Right. And I was born in the projects too. I was like, you got project crazy girl, you got military. Where is she? Right. And so he finally stepped back and he was like, I was just playing. And then somebody else was like, man, you better leave that lady alone. She's just trying to help you. Well, that was on a Friday. Let's fast forward to the Monday. I met him at his apartment. The housing person was late to give him his key. So I just sat in my car and he was staring at me and he don't think I was looking at him, but military people don't miss much, right? So I was looking everywhere else, but I see you, crazy man. I see every move you making. So he walked over and he knocked on my car window and he thought I was going to lower my window. But why would I do that? Why would I sit in a vehicle with you standing outside and give you position of authority? No, sir. So I opened the door, made him move, locked my car. Like I remember like closing the door and then taking my key fob and putting it like in his face and going, doop, doop. I was like, yes. He said, these were his words. What branch of the army were you in again? I said, military. You just said it, army. Why? And he was like, what job did you do? I said, I was a combat medic. Why? And he was like, oh, my cousin was a combat medic. He was crazy too. I said, I'm glad you recognize it. And I got back in the car. Right. So we go through some of these things that we've gone through prepares us to live our lives in these big existences, right? So like you, Miles, I wasn't putting out content. I was living this little existence. I was like in hiding. And finally I said, screw that. I need to now live my life in a way that I can feel like if I were to leave this earth, that I'm leaving it all on the field. So 2020 to me didn't have that same feeling that a lot of people had. I lost a job in 2020. I had just moved to this high rent area. Like I rent my house, but my rent is double some people's house note. Like Amira, you've been in my neighborhood. I'm in this little bougie little neighborhood. I'm like, hey, how you do this little job?
Very beautiful.
I'm like, how you do this
Beautiful
with no job,
neighborhood.
right? I'm like,
It's one of those neighborhoods you drive down and you look to the right and look to the left and you like, who stays over here? Like,
right. Wait, let
yes.
me add to that. And who stays over here with no job? It's like,
That's the most
oh my
important part.
God.
Like,
Right. Let's that part.
It's a little asterisk.
Right. You know?
Let me tell you, Faith and I were like driving up to the house, and Faith is like, no, I mean, even the streets
And don't
are
say the
like
neighborhood. You know, I'll come for
super
you if
clean.
you tell people where I live. What you say?
The streets are super clean and they have amazing flowers, and I mean they really take care of you guys over there though. It's worth every
Yeah.
penny. That's all I had to
Yeah, it's worth every penny once you realize not to be afraid. And I was like, you know what? I had 7 years of fear. I was prepared by living in hotels where I paid $139 a night in California, right? I was prepared by being afraid to like branch out. And finally when I did, it was like I can't go back to that mindset. So yeah, I may be in 2020 with no job, but I'm not going to go back to the fear mindset because hindsight is 2020. Like you, Miles, when you have those years of just what'd you say, when you're numb, when you come out of that thing, like when
absolutely.
you think about numbness, right? When numbness starts to, when your limbs, I've been frostbitten before in the military. They made me do push-ups in the snow with no gloves on until, everybody was crying because I was in so much pain, right? Military is, why did I join? I don't regret it. And that's crazier to even say. But when you're coming back from numbness, right, and you get the prickles in your fingers, that is a painful place to be in. And I always say, if you're going to be in pain anyway, right? If you're going to feel the wrath of that anyway, why not do it to the highest level and live your dreams in the biggest way possible? Right? Let's just go for it and live your dreams in the biggest way possible. My hindsight is 2020. So with that, I'll ask y'all, it's 9 o'clock. We've been just talking, but I have to ask this question. So I know, right? It went fast, didn't it? Okay. So I have to ask this question. What's one lesson that you learned? Okay, no, not a lesson. What's one thing that you went through in your life that has prepared you to live your life on a big scale? And you don't have to tell all your business like I just did if you don't want to. Eventually I'm gonna write a book. It's gonna all be in there because I can't help but tell my business. Y'all want to know something, just call me. I'll ramble my life away. But what's something that you went through that taught you to live your life on a bigger scale? Miles. I normally go with a mirror, but she looked like she's thinking.
I'll go.
Okay.
So the one thing that got me is, and one day I'll be able to tell more of the story. Some stuff I can't talk about right now, for just respect. I can't, some stuff I can't mention right now. But um, I'll say this: I knew there were certain things that, I got married in 2016, had a baby, blended family. So all of a sudden I went from 0 to 100. I was, single. And then all of a sudden I'm like a father and a husband. And that was a huge transition for me. I don't think people understand how intense it was. Um, I knew I was doing the right thing, but in the same sense, it was just intense because I know there's a certain way I want to do business, a certain way I want my family to, it's a certain lifestyle I want my family to experience. And I also understood that at the time, it was only a vision for me to put that in place. I didn't have it tangibly. So I was building. And one thing I would tell people, I would tell young men across the board, like you have to really be careful um, bringing a young lady into your life when you're not completely built, or you're not close enough to put some other things in motion or in place to be successful in a relationship. A lot of times relationships fail because of resources. And so if you don't have all the resources, not like this person is the most evil person on the face of the planet. They just need a resource to be in place. I mean, or it's not that you're a bad person. You just have to have more resources ready for what's coming, because you're now expected to provide and protect. And some of that provision and protection is going to be with some money. It's going to be to put your family in a neighborhood where you don't have to worry about your children walking down the street, or that your little one can ride his tricycle um, down the street without somebody driving by in a Hellcat and trying to run them over.
Yeah.
It's those are the things. Those are real things. And so I experienced, again, like I said, I was in the rebuilding process. Um, I had lost everything that mattered to me up to that point. So I'm like walking into this experience completely refreshed and renewed, but also almost at ground zero again. And so
Wow.
I don't. There's no regrets about it, obviously, but in the same sense, there's certain things I wanted to do for my wife that I wasn't initially able to do yet, and it pulled on me. It nearly broke me. It was intense. There are certain things I want to do for my son because he's my son
Mhm.
that I wasn't in a position to do at the very moment he was born. It's not that we were, in dirt, and living in dirt or anything like that. But in the same sense, it's just a certain lifestyle I wanted to build. Um, and what I learned from that experience, that was my box experience, so to speak. I felt trapped in by what I had always envisioned this would look like. And day one, it didn't look like that. And I was trying my best to make it look like this image in my mind. And it drained me. It pulled me. It was one of the roughest transitions in my life.
Hmm.
Then I had to come to grips with the fact that if this person who I just brought into my life, and told the whole world, her family, my family, and God that I'm going to build a life with her, then I have to trust that even if she's upset with me, even if she's unhappy about some of the things that are going on, that she has to at some point understand that I'm going to be putting my best foot forward.
Right.
And at that moment, that's why I come with the term. Sometimes your best is not good enough. You're gonna have to get better. And I had to get better. And every day I get better. Every day I've learned how to accept where I am, not beat myself up for where I'm not, and keep putting my best foot forward. And if you keep putting your best foot forward, you're going to create some momentum. You're going to create better momentum when you make better steps. And the truth of the matter is that who knows it all today? We're sometimes we're expected to be perfect, and that's not true. Sometimes we're expected to just know everything, and that's not fair. So you have to be fair with yourself. And ironically, it was the last conversation I ever had with my father that really started freeing me. It was that
Hmm.
he told me that he believed in me, that
Mhm.
he knew that I was going to make the right decisions. He knew that God had my back, and that through it all, that I've always been a person who he believed was a good person, not just because I was his son, but he believed I was a good person, and that
Mhm.
things would work out for me. And honestly, I nearly broke down crying because at that moment I was distraught. Like I didn't know what to do next. I knew that what everything I was doing at that point seemed like it was failing, and I couldn't give content. I couldn't do operating my number one gift because in my personal life I felt like I was failing.
Right.
Like who wants to hear from a failure at that point, right?
Yeah.
And I had to get myself back in order. It took a while. It took a while. It took a while. It took a while. It took a while to get back in order. Because right after that, my dad passed away, and then right maybe 2 years after that, my grandfather passed away. And so I've dealt with all these people, all the men who really have poured into me, um, leaving, and I'm here, you know, doing it right now with everything they gave me, but I can't go to them for live information, for live wisdom, and have to just rely on what they've shared for me. But what really got me out of the box was I could sit here and sulk. I can sit here and grieve the rest of my life, or I can utilize the wisdom my mother left me. I can utilize the wisdom my father left me. I can utilize the wisdom my grandfather left me. And even for the brief moment, even in that same 5 year span, we also lost my wife's mother. So
Mm.
it was a really hard time. But what helped me come out of the box is that somehow, some way, I'm supposed to be great. I'm supposed to be able to be in position to have live the life of my dreams. I've been preaching this for years. The life of your dreams is wonderful. You deserve it. Well, it's got to affect me too, right? I've seen so many people be blessed by that statement. it's got to affect me too. So I started becoming my own practitioner of the things that I preach. And that was when I started coming out of the box. You gotta believe it.
Yeah.
And like I say, it works for other people. I've seen it work. I know it works. I know it's worked for me in the past. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? I can't allow myself to just sit here and waste the investment that these people have put in my life.
Yeah.
I think that's what I looked at it as, is that I've had so many people invest so many things into my life, good things, wonderful things, that I can't afford to waste their effort, their time, and their investment in me. And then there's this next generation that is requiring that I step up and lead them. So I can't
Yeah.
sit up, eating bonbons on the couch all day. I gotta get it done.
So I love that. And see, I'm about to make me cry because I love that you say you can't afford to waste the investment that other people put in you. You know, when you look at what our ancestors did for us and the seed, like there's a biblical quote that says that we're supposed to plant our seed in the ground, and we're supposed to plant it all really before we leave this earth, right? And they planted that seed. They saw you as good soil, so they planted that in you, and so you cannot waste that, right? And as Dawn just wrote, she said, don't waste their investment. Like, don't waste the
Right.
investment that they put in you. Don't waste the
Right.
investment that you put in you. You and I, we have so many similarities because when you were talking, well, first of all, I wanted to say this. I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. I forgot, and I'm glad I looked at my notepad. This is your fourth quarter comeback. You have prepared so many people for the fourth quarter. And I think that regardless of whether this is the first quarter of the year, Miles, everything that you have taught us for all these years, you are in the midst of your own fourth quarter comeback. So I can't wait to watch you be great. But you and I, we share so many similarities because sorry, y'all. But my mother, before she passed, my mother said to me, she said, it was kind of the same, almost the same message, but she said to me that she said, you're supposed to be big. She said, and you keep doing these lives and you think it's on a small stage, and you don't believe in yourself anymore because you kind of feel like you're letting people down because you're not living your title. Because I kept saying, I can't go by the audacity expert anymore. I don't have any audacity. I'm hiding from somebody, right? And she was like, that's gonna make it even better when you're able to share that story and show people how to get from where they are to where they want to be. She said, but um, I you're gonna be big, and she said, and I'm gonna be here to see it, and she's not. And so this weekend, in my soul struggle of staying in the bed and not being able to get up, I don't know, it was like someone was just holding me hostage. That those are some of the things that I've been ruminating over. Did I miss it? Did I mess up? Did not taking these backward steps screw me up? Did I not meet the people? Do you know, like living in California, I've met, sat next to, been connected to, and worked with some really big name people. And I don't name drop because I believe I'm big. I believe you're big. If I'm a name drop, I'm gonna drop y'all names too, right? Because I don't believe in putting people on a pedestal because we're all supposed to be big, right? I believe that when people make it in this world, I think that they make it so that they can be in a position to pull you up when you get there, not so that we can look at them on their pedestal and go, oh, and bow down to them, but that they're waiting for us. They're waiting to say, "Oh, finally you made it to this point. Let me pull you up." That's the job. Like that's the job that God gave all of us, is to pull somebody up, not to sit up there and say, "Well, I'm higher than you, I'm mightier than you, and you shall not do anything unless I grant it." That's not the purpose of the exercise. But you said something, Miles. You said, "Who wants to hear from a failure?" And I think a lot of people get stuck in that moment of believing, I'm a failure. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough friends. I don't have enough. Y'all, my little violin, like, it's not even that big right now. It's like, it's a pocket violin. I can pull this little pocket violin out. This weekend, all I heard was, you ain't got no friends. You ain't got nobody who like you. You ain't got nobody, you know what I mean? You ain't got no, you don't have no connections. You don't have no this. That's when you're sitting in the thick of it, right? When you're trying to remind yourself of who you are. But I love that I've built up so much on the inside of me, because for everyone, my self-talk game is strong now. My self-talk game is strong. And it's like, you can't catch me there right now anymore. It doesn't mean that those thoughts and feelings don't come back when you're in that space. But it just means what? Hindsight is 2020. You can look back over your life and see the things that you made it through. You got to be stronger than that. You got to be stronger than me being homeless, dude. You got to be stronger than having a machete pulled up to your neck. You're not stronger than those moments. I made it through them. What can you do to me that hasn't already been done? Nothing. So now, whatever platform you're on, pull me up. If you want to just tell me what I didn't do, if you're going to tell me where I dropped it, tell me where I left it at, right? Where I leave it at. How do I get it back? Right, that part, right, Amir? That part. So, okay, go ahead, Amir, before I go start preaching. Start
I
preaching
don't
up
know
in
what's
here.
left to say.
I don't know, a lot.
This is the problem with being on a platform with two dynamite people. Okay, like drop the freaking mic. Y'all said it. Did the people hear it? Because y'all came through. And no, I mean, I don't even know. Like Dawn is crying and she feels me. Like, listen, I ain't had no machetes to my throat, and I haven't been a man that got married and had to take care of a whole family. I mean, damn.
But you are doing
So,
things with your kids and your fabulous daughter and your son. So let's go.
listen, what I can say is what Miles said was about marriage, and what I will share is about divorce. And that's what taught me to live in my truth, live in my gratitude, live in my happiness, because I held on to a long marriage. I left the house at 17. I must have got married at 18 or 19. I had kids at 19, so I held on to this marriage for so long because I didn't want to disappoint my children. I didn't really even know how to take care of myself. I didn't know. And the first weekend, full transparency, the first weekend that I didn't have my children, and you got to think, I'm a young woman. I have never been alone. I have always been with my mother. I've always been with the kids. Thank you, Star. I've always been with someone, waking up to the pitter patter of little feet, and something to do. And the first time I didn't have my kids and I woke up in my house by myself, no husband, no children, I bawled. I cried my eyes out. I could cry right now thinking about the tears. I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. I called my mom. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I didn't know how to operate. I had never been in the house alone. And, as mother wisdom goes, she was like, snap out of it. She was like, go get a book. And if I never took my mother's advice, I took it then. I read every book. I read the Bible backwards and forwards. I read The Science of the Mind. I read The Alchemist. I read every book you could come up with. Every book you could read. And I just start pouring into me. And that was the moment I had to kind of change the trajectory of who I was. And I had to learn how to stand in my own happiness, to create happiness for myself, and to fill those spaces. But it was absolutely terrifying to wake up and be alone after my whole life. I mean, I basically went from my mama's house to a marriage. And with kids, I didn't have any space to breathe or what it looked like to be on my own. But it was necessary because the whole end of the marriage, we won't even talk about the tears on the bathroom floor. We won't even do that. But we're talking about transitional points of that's where I transition. Learning how to be in that space from that deep, deep pain of not knowing what to do with myself. And now, boy, can I say I enjoy my time. What a 180 this has been. Cause dang it, listen, I'm so cozy.
Yes, I
Give me
was
some
just this
Amira
morning.
time. I'm down with that.
Just this morning,
So,
I was like, I should wake. Lauren needs to wake up, and I looked at the clock, and I was like, mm-mm. I like this sense of quiet. I like being down here by myself and not hearing any noise happening upstairs. I'm good. And normally I make sure like teenagers, right? I make sure she's up by 1. And remember, I've been in and out the bed all weekend, couldn't get up. She came down here like 2:40. I was like, "Hey, girl, hey." I know she's probably thinking to herself, "You didn't come up to my room." No, we were just enjoying life today. We were just enjoying our time today. Dawn said, "Amira, you rebuilt yourself." Yes, she did. Yeah, I think, I think that's what 2020 taught us too, how to rebuild. So going off of what Dawn just said, and then so this would be our last question before we do the last, like, give us your last nuggets. But how would you how what blah 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 blah. Woo! I love to talk, but formulating questions for other people don't seem to come as easy as seem. I just want to ramble. Um, if you had to give somebody, 1 to 3 steps on how to rebuild yourself, or 3 things you could do to rebuild yourself when you have a setback, when you have a 2020, what would they be, Amir?
pour into yourself. Pour into you. Figure out what it is that you like. Get a book that you like. Hang on to a podcast that you like. Um, pour into you in whichever way that looks like, because it looks different for absolutely all of us. So if you need to listen to a podcast, if you need to listen to an audible book, if you need to uh, turn on music and dance around the house, um, that would be my first nugget to rebuild yourself, because we have this thing where when we are rebuilding or when we're down, we want to ignore that by giving and serving other people, but all we get deeper in the hole because we're not giving from a full cup.
Right.
So whenever you're rebuilding, pour into you first. And if that means you have to tell people, no, I can't do this, or excuse me, I'm going to have to not do that, fill your cup up.
That's good. That's a good nugget. Fill your cup up. I had to make sure I wasn't still on mute. I keep muting myself to cough. Okay, Miles, give us a number 2. What would be a good thing that people could do to rebuild themselves when they've had a setback or a 2020?
I'll go back to the beginning. And this may be considered part of pouring to yourself, but I think this you can separate it too, and that is forgiving yourself, forgiving uh, anybody that may have caused you any grief. Even sometimes you have to forgive the process. The process can be rough. Um, I talk about the 3 stages of dream realization, which is the goal, the process, and the manifestation. And the process will get you to the manifest. If you set the goal, the process will get you to the manifestation. But sometimes the process is going to do some things that you may not have intended or would have wanted to see happen, but it's probably par for the course. And you have to forgive yourself for not being able to see some things, sometimes not being able to uh, let go of certain things. Because a lot of times, like when you go through a process, it's going to shake stuff up, it's going to remove things, and the things that's going to remove sometimes you may not be in a 100% agreement with, but in the same sense, as we move forward, as we get better, as we commit to being the very best person we can be, that process is going to require that you let go, and sometimes you have to forgive yourself for the time that you couldn't let go, or the times that you couldn't change, or the times that you weren't giving your best effort, because when you weren't giving your best effort, when you were there was more left in the tank and you just chose to try to cruise. But there's other times where you gotta, when those moments happen, you gotta really look at yourself and say, I forgive me. And as you're pouring in yourself, that basically forgiveness fills the hole, so that when you're pouring into yourself, it's not pouring into an empty, you're not pouring into the abyss. you're shoring up the process. You're going to be okay. I'm going to pour into myself, but I'm going to make sure that the hull of the ship is not it doesn't have a still have this huge gaping hole in it. So I forgive myself to move forward.
I love that. I love that. I love that. You know what? I'm gonna continue it because so Amira said pour into yourself. Maj, you said forgive yourself, which is super important. But I think another huge part of rebuilding yourself is celebrating yourself. That means
Hmm.
that once you poured into yourself, once you've forgiven yourself, you have to celebrate you regardless of where you are in the journey. You have to know where you are. You have to believe in who you are. You have to know where you are. And you have to know why you are. And part of the celebration is being open. Like Amira, you started out by saying, like, if you need to dance, if you need to, sing, whatever it is. I always talk about being free. My mother used to talk about me because we would go in the grocery store. I've never met a stranger. Y'all know I talk a lot. I could hold this whole 2 hour stream by myself, just rambling, blah, 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 right? So I can go in the store, I'm singing the songs, I'm dancing in the middle of the aisle. I'm having people that have never seen me before, never met me before, I probably won't see them again. They're joining in. My mother used to always say,
I've
these
seen this.
people have never met you, but you've seen it, right? Like, hey, right? I've come up to you, then come on, dance with me. Like, that's me. It's like, yes, life is serious, but you just never know who needed you in that moment. Like Miles said earlier, somebody needed his voice today. Somebody needed your voice today, Amira. Somebody needed to see me dancing in the aisle because life felt heavier than it needed to feel. And they needed a moment of levity so that they could lighten up a minute and be able to, like, find a way to see all the greatness that they are and all the things that they do to help this world be a better place. You can't do that if you bog down. You can't celebrate yourself. My clients will tell you, I've had clients who they hate this part of the game most of the time because it comes early, but I make them stand up and clap, and I want to hear it. I don't do video with them. I always do everything on the phone, but I'm like, I want to hear it. Let me hear you celebrating you. Let me hear you celebrating the fact that you took that step, that you, no matter how small you think it was, right? We don't, right? Like Dawn said, you never know who needed you. We don't look at a baby. Like Miles said, he has a 1 year old who probably just learned to walk a couple months ago, right? So, right? So
Yeah,
then, right,
yeah.
yeah, he's like,
He's
yeah,
running
I'm not
now.
happy about that part. Yeah, yeah. But
He's
do
I'm
you
happy
ever
about it.
do we
I'm had to catch up with him.
exactly, that's what I mean. It's like, whew, yes. But do we ever look at a little baby when they're taking their first step and tell them it wasn't good enough? That step wasn't big enough. Look at your little bitty feet. What you think you're doing with your life? You ain't doing nothing. You ain't going too far. What you doing? Right? We never look at a baby and judge them based on the step, but we judge ourselves based on our steps. And we don't realize that anytime we're starting again, anytime we're rebuilding, anytime we're finding the newness in our own lives, that we're going to have what's called baby steps. And we may have to do that little bitty foot, right? And maybe that little bitty step. Like I can look right now at the stairs in my house, and the first landing is only 7 stairs, but I can't run them all at the same time. I can't do one leap and go up 7 steps. I can do two. I may be able to stretch and do three on a good day, right? Yeah. But whatever it is, exactly, right? Yeah, right. Hey, girl, hey, right?
Possible,
But
yeah.
whatever it is,
It's all possible.
it's all possible, right? But I'm not gonna do four. I'm not gonna run, and I don't even have enough room to do four. Like, but we have to be willing to celebrate ourselves for taking that first step and then taking that second, and not allow the voices to tell us that it wasn't a big enough step, or not allow the voices to be negative enough to say you fell off. But if they don't follow up with where I left it at, if they don't follow up with how I can get it back, if they don't follow up with how I can be better, or how I help shape their life, or how they can shape mine to be better, leave those voices where they are. Baby steps are sufficient. And at some point, we're going to be in these size 8s and 10s and 12s and 16s and be able to do more. But until that day comes, celebrate where you are and what you did for today, because it's in the celebration that you give yourself fuel to be free, and the fuel to forgive the mistakes that you think you made, or the fact that you didn't take 2 steps, you only took one. And then tomorrow you'll be able to do it all over again. So I think, like, we wrap that up really well. Like, pour into yourself, forgive yourself, and celebrate yourself where regardless of where you are, because nobody knows your journey. And let me tell you, y'all can put my shoes on if y'all want to. Can y'all handle machetes being put up to your neck? Nobody should have to. I don't want that journey for you. I don't even want your journey. I be looking at mine sometime going, Come on, God, for real. Like this is what we doing today. Like, you saw all that in me today? Woo! Right? So that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. Yeah, Dawn's putting up the hand. She's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Seems like right now all the comments are coming from Facebook, and I know I can look at the numbers on my different screens and see that they are coming from different areas. So if y'all on Periscope, if y'all on YouTube, go ahead and type in some questions or let us know where you are. Just say hi. We're about to wrap up. This is gonna be our last one. So now's your chance. Come on, get it in. First live video of 2020. Don't you want to be a part of it and give us some energy? Come on, let's go. Okay. So, final wrap up. Hindsight is 2020. It is stated that 2020 is perfect vision. To make y'all laugh, I remember I used to go to the eye doctor every year with my little insurance when I worked at Disney. I want glasses. And they would do my little eye test. You have perfect vision. Dang it. Right? I want glasses. You have perfect vision. Dang it. But I always went back. And the eye doctor would be like, you back again? Like, I'm like, but for real, this time I see something. I see like it's there. Perfect vision. Dang it. And then one day I was driving down the street and the lights were coming at me. And y'all, I'm not even making this up. Y'all, I know I joke a lot, but I'm not making this up. My son and my nephew were in the car with me and I slammed on the brakes. And my nephew was like, hey, Antonio, are you okay? And I was like, y'all, I should be embarrassed to admit this, but I said, did y'all see that reindeer? And he said, what? I thought it was and it was Christmas time. I thought it was a reindeer in the middle of the street. I'm just saying, because the lights were coming at me fast. And then I said, oh, I no longer have perfect vision. I ran to the eye doctor, and now I'm mad because I got to wear them glasses at night because I can't see nothing. Now I can't see nothing at night. But I don't know what happened. I begged for glasses, and then I got them, and I wanted perfect vision. So 2020 is supposed to be perfect vision. Hindsight is 2020. 2020 is behind us. We don't want to go backward. We don't want to take backward steps. I live my life saying I don't take backward steps, but there is something that we all need to learn. So to wrap this up, both Amira and Miles, and whoever speaks first, the baddest person hit my hand. I'm just saying. But what would be the one thing that you would want to share with the people that stuck with us this long on hindsight is 2020 and living their best life for 2021?
Listen, don't be scared to fail forward. Don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared to be vulnerable. Um, don't be unafraid to be unlike anyone else. I think Tanoa started this by saying that I'm a different style and viewpoint. She's a different style and viewpoint. Miles is a different style and viewpoint. So as you can see, three people with three different viewpoints get up on here and we sync up and it's all okay. So I think that is my 2021 message. Don't be afraid to be you. However that is. If you cuss like a sailor, smoke like a chimney, I don't know what you do, but don't be afraid. Don't smoke. No, that's not healthy. I shouldn't have said
Especially like a
that.
chimney.
But all the other stuff, whatever you do that's healthy, don't be afraid to be you. Take 2021, and when we come out here and we're able to get into these streets, show up as yourself. Show up as you in these streets. I think for so long, we'll be on a whole nother show. But be you, do you.
Be you, do you. Yes. And I'm sorry.
Let's
I'm not
let's
gonna judge
let's
you.
be let's not be curated. Let's not be curated in 2021. Let's be who we are. Let's not retweet posts. Let's curate our own things. Let's be ourselves. That's what I think for 2021.
Okay. And I'm gonna go back. I'm not gonna judge y'all. If y'all smoke like a chimney, do you? That is your business. If you want to learn to stop, though, give one of us a call. I'm just saying, but not like a chimney. Maybe just take it down a little bit. Like clean your lungs. I'm doing a cleanse. I'm doing a clean. You want to do a cleanse with me to stop? You call me, okay? You call me. Um. Anyway, what's your message to end this, Miles?
Well, I want to piggyback off what Amir just said. Um, um,
I'm sorry, Tatum said
I
he was
oftentimes
enjoying his
like
cigar until that moment. Sorry.
I thought
Oh, well then I meant it. Do smoke your cigar, please, sir. Please.
cigars are for victories. Cigars are to celebrate victories.
That's right.
um, but to piggyback on what Amir was saying about being you, there's been so many times where people, some of my closest associates, my closest friends, even family members, they found out that I was, a paid professional speaker, and I've even been trained by Les Brown. And one thing that people would tell me is that, well, you're nothing like Les Brown, and you're nothing like Eric Thomas, and you're nothing like this guy, you're nothing like Zig Ziglar, you're nothing like this. Motivational speakers are this, motivational speakers are that. And almost a couple times I let that poison get into my system. Then I had to catch myself. When people used to talk to me, I would tell them, they would ask me, "How are you doing?" I'm phenomenal as usual. And that's my normal standard. It's phenomenal. Um, it got to me that you, in being yourself, there's one thing that you have to understand about being yourself that a lot of people in this society that we live in will demonize. And that is the factor of deserving what it is that you are capable of being. And you hear me, it's my trademark. I'm going to say this often. If you ever hear me at a speaking engagement, if you ever sit in one of my coaching sessions, if you ever listen to one of my podcasts, you're going to hear me say this often, that the life of your dreams is wonderful and you deserve it. If you go to my website, it's clearly put on my website. The life of your dreams is wonderful and you deserve it. And so the basis of that statement is the word deserve. The word deserve comes from an old French word pronounced désavir. And désavir means to serve devotedly. And so when you hear me say that the life of your dreams is wonderful and you deserve it, what you're actually hearing me prophesy over your life is that the life of your dreams is designed to serve you devotedly.
Hmm.
And it's wonderful for your life, for your dreams to serve you devotedly. The life of your dreams is wonderful and you deserve it. The life of your dreams is designed to serve you devotedly. So the only way you can live the life of your dreams is, again, going back to what Amir just said, is by being yourself. Do what it is that makes you happy, that makes your heart beat, that makes that when you step out, this is who you really are. Because if you try to be somebody else, you'll be a miserable person. You'll live a miserable existence. Because I've done it for you. I've done the research for you. It sucks. Don't try it. You have a better chance at living a wonderful life, which you deserve, as yourself. We don't need to see the actor and the actresses. It's enough that we have to wear masks in public. You can take the mask off when you're at home. Be who you really are and understand that the life of your dreams is wonderful and you do deserve it. You deserve it.
I love that. The life of your dreams is designed to serve you devotedly. I say all the time that our purpose, our intention, the reason we were created is now and always will be bigger than the moment, because when God looks at us, He doesn't call us by our names. He doesn't call you Miles. He doesn't call you Amir. He doesn't call me Tanoa. He calls us purpose. He calls us that which we were created to be. He calls you coach, teacher, speaker. So for people to look at you and say, well, you don't sound anything like Les Brown, you say, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Because if I did, I would be doing God a disservice. Because what I would be saying to God was, you created me wrong. I was supposed to be Him. And so I'm going to live my life trying to be Him to please the people. But since I'm not Him, and since I'm not trying to please the people, thank God I'm trying to be me. Because that's what, when you look in the mirror, you see me. When God looks in the mirror, He sees me. I was created in His image. Why would I try to be somebody else? I remember years ago you brought when you brought up Les Brown. I remember I did an interview with him, and everything that could have gone wrong that day did. And let me just tell you, we could not get the interview started because, like, you had technical issues in the beginning. It was a million technical issues, and I'm sweating, right? Because I'm on the phone thinking this man is probably like, he got stuff to do. This Les Brown, right? He got to go. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And he said to Noah, stop apologizing. He was like, this is what life is. This is teaching us something. Let me tell you, that interview was supposed to be 30 minutes. It was almost 2 hours, and an hour of it was us hanging up trying to call back in and get the platform started. And him saying to me, stop worrying about it. We're going to get it till we get it right. He taught me that day that first of all, like I said earlier, people make it to the level they make it at, so that when you get there, they could pull you up, right? I'm so busy worrying about him and his time because he's Les Brown, and he taught me, no, ma'am, I'm here in this moment to teach you that it's okay, that you rise to your greatness, right? So that's amazing. So you got people saying to you, you're not Les Brown, and Les Brown was saying to me, let's be who we are in this moment. We're equal, and let's make this moment happen. So I love that, because in 2020, if we can, and I probably have something else to say, but I'll leave it with that, because there's so many nuggets that we could share with how to make our lives better, right? How to make our lives pop into place and be who we were intended to be. But to go off of what you ended with when you said the life of your dreams is designed to serve you devotedly, I would say sit down with yourself and ask yourself, when God looks in the mirror, he sees me, but what does he call me? What was I intended to be? Who was I intended to be? How was I designed to show up in this world? Because if you can answer that question, then you're going to move forward every day on the path that you were intended to be on, because you're living it now with those blinders on, right? Hindsight. We stop a horse from having too much vision, and we want them to only make it down the track. We put up the blinders, right? Let purpose be your blinder. Let purpose allow you to move through life only intending to be who God called you to be, and not somebody else's name, not somebody else's goals, not somebody else's anything. Be you, because everybody else is taken. Dr. Seuss, one of my favorite people. Live your dreams in a bigger, better, bolder way. The life of your dreams is designed to serve you devotedly. Make sure you do that. Make sure you live life at a higher level and with perfect vision. And I will say, stop going to life telling life you need glasses, because life is telling you see perfectly, because one day you're not, right? Oh, Dawn says she likes that. Let your purpose be your blinders. Yes, let your purpose be your let your purpose be your blinders, and only live the way you were intended to live, and stop saying that you can't see. I can't see. I can't see. I can't see. You can see. That's what purpose is saying to you. You can
You
see.
end up seeing a reindeer in the street.
You gonna see a reindeer in these streets.
Cut that out.
Apparently, I believe in Santa a little too much, because I really did. I slammed on my brakes and told them boys I saw a reindeer. I think they wanted me committed that night, but that's okay. That's okay. Well, I appreciate
If
y'all.
it's
Wait,
any
you want to?
consolation, I have seen a real. If it's any consolation, I have seen a real deer walk right in front of my car. So it is possible. You could have seen Santa's
Yes.
helpers. It's possible.
I'm not gonna say anything, but if you said it was Christmas time, it might have been a little eggnog working. I don't know.
No, like people, and you've seen me, Amira. I don't even really drink, so people know I don't drink like
Yeah,
that to
you
be done.
know.
So let's blame it on the alcohol, blame it on the juice. I'm gonna blame it on something other than these eye sockets of
Something.
mine, y'all, because I did see it. Miles, when I was stationed in Wisconsin, I almost ran into a deer, so I know they real. But this one had the little reindeer, and I'm not gonna call him Rudolph. He didn't have a red nose, but I'm just saying he could have been Blitzen. He could have been anybody. But he disappeared like Santa. You know what I mean? Like I slammed on the brakes and he was gone. That does not mean he wasn't ever there. I believe.
You
You
got
know,
your glasses now.
the headlights blind them. It slows them down.
Yeah, and then I slammed on my
But
brakes
it
and
might
gave him a
never be.
chance to get
But it
away.
could have never been there. Also, it could have never been
No,
there.
no, no, no,
Also,
no, no, no. We're not doing that. That's so negative, Miles. Like that is so negative. Like we're not ending this broadcast with
but
negativity. Like keep your negativity
now,
to yourself.
I see it like this. I feel like this. When stuff like that happens, it's one of the most uh, beautiful things that can happen, because you understand that you have the power to manifest what you say, and now you can just realign it and manifest what you want.
But thank you. So you're right. So
She
now
got them glasses, didn't she?
I got I have
Oh
20/20
gosh.
vision. I
Y'all,
see
I have
perfect.
enjoyed y'all.
I've enjoyed y'all too. Thank y'all so much for joining me on my first live of 2021. Why do I keep want to say it's
This is
2020? I'm
cool.
stuck. I'm stuck. I need to be. How do I get out of this stuckedness? Oh my gosh, it's 2021. Hey, but no,
Just keep
thank
writing
y'all
it
so
down.
much for.
Just keep writing it.
Just keep writing it
Just
down.
keep writing it.
2021. I'm writing right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
2021. Got it. So we need to do this again. It doesn't necessarily have to be on this platform, but maybe, maybe we can all get together and come up, create some content or something, because this was fun. This was fun.
Absolutely.
And thank y'all viewers for tuning in, and for those of you who were in the chat and giving us love and showing us some energy, because it all matters. We may have stuff to say, but when the energy comes in, I'm telling you, it hits different. It hits different. So I appreciate y'all. And if I think I never remember the titles of my books, but I know one of my books was like something about technical difficulties. But if we learned nothing from earlier, we had technical difficulties and then we bounced back and we brought it. And there's so much more to share, so much more to say. If you guys want to reach out to any of them, you can find, let me come off of this so we can see the names again. You can find both of them on Instagram under their names that you see there. Amira is Amira's Views on Instagram. Miles is Miles Miller, right? You're Miles Miller on
Miles
Instagram.
W. Miller.
Miles
Miles
W.
W. Miller.
Miller. Get it right.
Gotta say
Miles
W.
W. Miller. Real quick, y'all, spit out y'all websites if you have one, or how you want them to contact you. Instagram.
Yep. DM me, private message me on Facebook.
Ooh,
Those are
she
the
said
ways.
slide into her
Email me.
DMs. You just opened up a whole can
Slide
of
into
worms.
slide into my D. It's 2021. What else will we do?
It's just like
Slide
a,
into
Now
my
it's
slide
just like
DM.
hockey.
in.
I
If you
answer.
never take that shot, you never know what the goalie gonna do.
You never know.
Not like
Don't
that.
throw.
Don't slide into my DMs on that.
Oh, well, you did. You
No.
got me.
You want to work together or something of that nature.
Something, girl. You
Don't be
loosen up in
creepy.
again.
Like, oh,
And Miles, he said you can reach him where?
You can reach me Instagram Miles W Miller. Um, Facebook is Facebook .com/Miles Speaks. Twitter Miles W Miller. I said Instagram. Clubhouse Miles Speaks. It's starting to become a really fun experience on Clubhouse. I actually starting to understand it a little bit better. I want to start opening up some rooms myself. So I'm everywhere
Yeah.
you want to be. And also, you can
Everywhere
always
you
go to my
want to
website,
be.
mileswmiller.com.
And it's Miles with a Y. Every time I try to do the I, I'm like, why won't my phone pull them
Oh
up? And
yeah,
it's like, because it's with a Y. Um, and I would just say that I'm everywhere. I'm Tanoa Bond, except on Clubhouses. I am the warrior. Bam, because 2021, I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it. Y'all thought I was chatty before. No, it's time to get real in these streets. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. I shall not get run over, but I do believe. Thank y'all for joining us. In the words of Russell Simmons, God bless you and good night. Love y'all. Happy 2021.
have a good year.
I need some outro music. Thank y'all.